Hey everybody, today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Thrive Market. So I got this friend. His name is Gunnar Lovelace, and Gunnar and I go way back. I think I first met Gunnar maybe 15 years ago. And ever since I've known this guy, he has been obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with healthy eating, not just for himself, but also in the context of trying to inspire as many people around him to adopt healthier lifestyle habits. You might even be interested in the podcast conversation that I had with him. It's a while back, episode 190. You can check that out and hear Gunnar's entire story. But what he's doing now is super interesting. He's set on making healthy food affordable for everybody, and he's doing it at scale with his new company, Thrive Market. Thrive Market has all the top premium healthy and organic products that you would usually get at a grocery store, but unlike your typical organic and non-GMO products that are marked up to premium prices, Thrive Market sells the same organic and non-GMO premium products at wholesale prices. How do they do that? Well, Thrive Market can do it because they're cutting out all those middlemen and working directly with the brands. And so in that way, they can pass all that savings on to you guys, the members. They sell all the top organic and healthy products at 25 to 50% off, and it's all shipped straight to your door. And even better, for everyone who signs up, Thrive Market donates a membership to a low-income family, veteran, or teacher. So together, we are all making healthy living affordable for everybody. And I absolutely love that. That's a company I'm honored to support. Thrive Market also makes it super easy to shop. Not only is everything online and shipped straight to your door, but every single product on their site is tagged by over 90 different values. So in one click, you can sort the entire catalog by categories like non-GMO, organic, vegan, gluten-free, etc. And as a special offer to listeners of this podcast, Thrive has got something special for all of you guys. Go to thrivemarket.com/richroll, and Thrive Market is going to hook up my tribe, the RRP tribe, with an extra 25% off on your first box of organic and non-GMO products, plus free shipping. That is like an insane deal. Think about it. If you normally spend about $100 on groceries at Thrive Market, you'd only spend 50 to 75 on a given order. And then today you can save an additional 25% off on all the best quality food and products out there. Most people go to the store, I don't know, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. So why not save your time and money and get in on this special deal with Thrive Market today and get all your stuff shipped straight to your home. That's thrivemarket.com/richroll to get 25% off your first purchase and free shipping today. Let's do the show.
Your whole body is a fine-tuned machine that everything has to work in sync to do the volume that we're talking about. We're not talking about a 2-hour workout here. We're talking about 6, 7, 8 hours at a time at some pretty high intensities. It's a lot on the body, and people underestimate just because they feel good today and tomorrow that they're ready during the weekend or whenever in 3-4 days to do it again. And no, it takes longer. Our fitness allows us to overcome things that we really aren't familiar with. And the best way to compensate for that is to be extra fit for it and extra prepared and also rested.
That's Chris Hauth with special guest Caroline Burckl, and this is the Rich Roll Podcast. The Rich Roll Podcast. Hey everybody, my name is Rich Roll. That is my real name. People ask me that all the time. They're like, did you adopt some kind of stage name? No, this is my God-given name, Rich Roll. Been living with it my whole life. In any event, I am your host. Welcome back to my podcast and another edition of Coach's Corner. This is a little series I started a while back to delve a little bit deeper into the physical, mental, and emotional aspects of sport, fitness, training, and lifestyle with my coach, Chris Hauth, my longtime coach. And what's interesting about this is that I originally thought that these conversations, which can be a bit personal with respect to my specific training and mentorship under Chris, would end up being a bit niche as we get fairly granular on things I thought perhaps the average listener would not be all that interested in or intrigued by. But much to my surprise, these episodes have been quite popular. You seem to really be enjoying them, so I'm going to keep doing them, and that is what today is all about. For those that are new or newer to the show, Chris Hauth is a former Olympic swimmer and world-class triathlete. In 2006, Chris won the Ironman Coeur d'Alene and went on to be the first American amateur and fourth overall American at the Ironman World Championships in Kona. Chris now exclusively runs his coaching program, AIMP, for athletes across the country and around the globe. And it's not just limited to triathletes. He's coached Western States top finishers, Ultraman winners, and plenty of swimmers towards age group nationals and Olympic trials. So whether you're an elite or just starting out, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he gets results, and he gets them the right way. I've been under Chris's wing since 2008, and I can honestly say that I would have never been able to accomplish the things that I have athletically without his coaching mentorship and deft guiding hand. Also joining us today, albeit briefly, is my buddy Caroline Burckl. Besides being a total character, Burckl is a former Olympic medalist in swimming and now works as a personal development coach guiding young athletes. She swam at the University of Florida, where she was a 23-time All-American and won 2 individual NCAA titles in the 200 free and the 500 free. She was named the 2008 NCAA Female Swimmer of the Year. She also broke the oldest then standing women's NCAA record in the 500 free. That must have been held by Janet Evans. I'm not sure. But she swam a 4:33, which is absolutely insane. And she's also a bronze medalist in the 4x200 free relay at the 2008 Olympics. Caroline then went on to earn a Master's of Science in Sports Psychology and Motor Behavior from the University of Tennessee. And now, when she's not out training like a crazy person, she works in depth and intimately with young athletes under Rise Elite Athletes, which is a company that she founded that pairs Olympic athletes, a whole battery of Olympic athletes, with young athletes for mentorship and guidance. And I think that's just such a cool, great idea. I certainly wish something like that was available when I was a young athlete. In any event, like I said, she's a total character, super fun, an incredible athlete, and a definite value add to this conversation. Again, albeit briefly, but I do intend to bring her back on and have a full podcast episode with her in the near future. In any event, I'll explain the context of this conversation in a second, but first, today's episode is also brought to you by Quip. Look, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you already brush your teeth. You probably even do it twice a day. You do all the things you're supposed to do. And oral hygiene, of course, is super important. But many recent studies suggest that having good oral health actually impacts your overall health as well. Most people don't realize there's actually a link between poor oral hygiene and heart disease. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. But no matter how well we brush our teeth, we could probably all do a little bit better. Right? So introducing Quip, the new company that's refreshing the way people brush their teeth. Quip is an electric toothbrush, but it's so much more than that. It's a really cool new device. I've been using it ever since they sent it to me, I don't know, a year ago. It packs premium vibration and timer features into this beautiful ultra slim design that's half the cost of bulkier brushes. It's basically as if Apple designed a toothbrush, but without the big price tag. You got to see it for yourself and brush with it for yourself. It's backed by all these leading dentists. It's won all these awards from Time and GQ. It made Oprah's 2017 New Year's O list. And it's super affordable. It starts at just $25. You can even subscribe to receive new brush heads on a dentist recommended 3-month plan for just $5, including free shipping. So right now, go to getquip.com/roll to get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack free. Great offer at getquip.com/roll. That's getquip.com/roll. Okay, so this conversation with Chris and Caroline is a bit on the shorter side compared to my usual conversation. So I thought I'd take the time to share another email from a fan. This is from somebody named Kelly, and Kelly writes, "Rich, I just wanted to email and thank you for the work that you do. I'm sure you get these a lot, but hope you find some of my comments encouraging. My wife and I, her name is Kelly too. Yes, we are Kelly and Kelly. I don't know how that works in your family. That's got to drive you crazy at times. I can't imagine. In any event, we adopted a plant-based diet about 4 months ago. We have always been what we thought was healthy, but this has taken things to a new level, and it is sustainable. I am exercising not out of need, but because it's fun. Nothing hurts anymore outside of the normal good for your muscle soreness. I'm on the verge of coming up with some crazy goal that I hope fits into being a husband, raising 3 kids, and running a company. My wife makes fun of me now as I have replaced my man crush on Bobby Flay, the meat grilling guy on the Food Network, with one for Rich Roll. I'm touched. I'm honored. Your podcasts have been a great way for me to think through a number of things, my health impact on my community and the world, focus, etc. The content is so rich. Sorry to be cheesy with the pun there. No worries. My wife and I were a big part of my wife's brother's story. That's a mouthful. Helping him get sober. Your story of how your psychologist gave you the ultimatum has so many parallels to how I handled the last days before he got to rehab. I smiled ear to ear reading the story in Finding Ultra. He lives in a guest house out back now, and he's doing amazingly well. Hearing your stories on AA and sobriety have helped us understand his world even better. He's getting there on going plant-based, and soon, we hope. I have a heart for those in recovery. With several working for me, I am now to the point where I think the world should follow some form of the 12 steps. I agree with you on that, Kelly. Speaking of my office, since I went plant-based, 4 others have joined me. So many things to share, but I know your time for reading this is limited. On and on. Thank you, Kelly. That's amazing. Really appreciate you taking the time to reach out and share a bit of your story with me. And I just love that people get inspired by the content that I put out, but also it's about when they actually make the changes. They implement the knowledge. They do the hard part. That's what inspires me. That's my fuel. And then to see that get passed on to other people and that domino effect occur, I mean, that is just, there's nothing better. So in any event, congrats, Kelly. Keep rocking. Your turn to inspire. Okay. So if you follow me on Instagram or you listen to my most recent episode with Aubrey Marcus, then you know that I was up in Lake Tahoe last week for a brief but productive altitude training camp with both Chris and Caroline in preparation for Otillo, this Swimrun ultra that I'm getting ready to compete in just, I think it's going to be 18 days from the date of posting this podcast. It's essentially an 8 or 9 hour race. About, 40 plus transitions between swimming and running in the archipelago south of Stockholm. Very cold water, tiny island hopping. It's like an adventure race. I'm super excited about it. I'm also intimidated. I'm humbled by the challenge. I'm a little bit afraid. And I don't know. This is a conversation about all of that. The training camp was super fun. It was very, very hard and also quite instructive in terms of helping me acclimate to the level of suffering that I'm soon going to be enduring. In any event, after a full training day last Friday, we all sat down to hash it out, and what follows is the result of that exchange. So we talk about Otillo, the gear challenges. We got all this crazy gear we got to wear, and how do we manage all of that? How do we run in custom wetsuits with our how do we swim in running shoes? How do we run carrying hand paddles? We talk about the unexpected heat. It was intended to be a cold water acclimation experience, but the water was pretty warm and it was like 80 degrees out in Lake Donner. So we talk about that. We talk about the level of patience required to excel at endurance sports, the benefits of training and entering a race with a partner, a teammate. And we talked to Caroline about training and overtraining and injury prevention. Again, it's a short one, but it's great, and I hope you enjoy the listen. Dude, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it was a fun day. It was a learning experience. But the good thing is that you went through the same struggles that I did the first time I came up here by myself, and sort
that's
of
comforting.
went through the motions. I was alarmed about all the things that you experienced. I experienced the first time, and I was worried too.
Yeah. Well, let's provide a little context. We're up in Lake Tahoe, Donner Lake to be specific, for a 48-hour training camp. And today, so we're at 6,000 feet of altitude. I can't tell you the last time I've been up in altitude, let alone trained at altitude. And today, we put in an epic day of training of swim run. It was the first time that we've trained together, except that one other time, but the first time that we trained together in the wetsuits, with the running shoes on, with the paddles, with the whole shebang in what was supposed to be cold water.
Yeah.
A little cold acclimation. And we trained from 6:30 to 1:30 or something like that. 10 different swim run segments all over Donner Lake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so break it down. What did we do? Do you remember?
Well, we started off with a 3-mile swim, close to 3-mile swim across the lake from one end to the other, basically almost the full length. And then we ran back to where we started. Then
3 miles.
Yeah. We did a shorter swim, which was supposed to be a little shorter, but I got lost on time. And next thing you know, it was actually a 35-minute swim versus just a 1-mile swim. And then we ran once around the lake, which is approximately 7 miles. And then it started getting hot.
Yeah.
That was the first time. And then we threw in another few short swims with a few short runs. And then we finished it up with another long run around the lake.
Right. Was that 5, 4? I can't remember how long that final run was.
Oh, it was 6 miles.
Oh, was it 6?
Yeah, because we swam
That's why
part
I'm so
of it.
hurting.
Yeah.
Right.
We swam part of it because we jumped in on that one end, swam to the beach, and then jumped out and started running.
Right. And we're both wearing these prototype Roka wetsuits that are cut off just above the knee and have full length on the sleeves, zip down the front, which is unusual for a wetsuit, have pockets on both quads where you can put a little nutrition or whatever you want. And we both had pull buoys strapped to our thighs with surgical tubing. And so this is how we swam, with the paddles, with the pull buoys, with the shoes on the whole time, getting out of the water and then running with all this this gear in what quickly turned into 80-degree weather, running in wetsuits at altitude around Donner Lake. And it started out comical, then it became excruciatingly painful. At least for me. I know you felt good, but I was chasing your ankles all day long.
Flat. I was black wetsuit, so in that sun. And then you had a swim cap on the whole time, too.
Yeah, I did.
So that made it extra hot. I finally had to tell you, take that swim cap off while you're running.
Yeah. It was rough, man. I've been doing plenty of swim runs in the pool and doing it in hot weather, in Los Angeles, upwards of 100, 105. This was a totally different deal. Like at home, I actually feel good running out of the pool. I can easily throw down, 7:15, 7:30 pace with a rational heart rate anywhere between 132 to 140. But today I was struggling to run 8:30 miles with a heart rate that was just skyrocketing, like in the 160. Like I never get my heart rate up that high. It was crazy. So I presume that is a factor of the 34-mile run that I did like 2 days ago, the altitude, the heat, and running in a wetsuit with all this gear. I'm hoping, but it was tough, man. It was definitely eye-opening for me and a little bit of an awakening, and I'm a little scared.
Yeah. I mean, well, we also shocked the system pretty hard. You just got back from an international trip, time change, sleep, and all that. And then we right away threw you into a 5-hour run, which turned out to be 34 miles for you. And then 48 hours later, we're here at altitude. Here. So we've never settled you and given you a time to absorb the load that we've been giving you. So, yeah, I mean, a lot happened today, but I think it was a really good experience for you too. Also to see those numbers, know you can continue, suffer a little bit, which is what we will be doing there. And it's good for the headspace too.
Yeah. Normally, I would not have taken a 2-week adventure, literally a month out from a huge race like this, but that's just life. And I went to Ireland and I was in Portland. And I did my best to try to maintain some semblance of training when I was traveling, but it's not like it is at home, of course. So I came back, lacking some fitness. I mean, maybe absorbing the fitness, the training that I had put in prior to that, but really kind of taking a break in the middle of, what should have been a really intense period of ramping up. So my longest run prior to those trips was about 2 hours and 40 minutes. And normally I would have stepped it up. You always have me step it up like 3 hours, 3.5, 4, 4.5, up to 5. But I went from that 2.5 hour, came back from my trip and threw down a 5-hour run, without that kind of build up. I mean, I can do it, but it's going to rattle me, much more than it would have had I more responsibly, acclimated to that kind of load.
Yeah, and in comparison, for the last few weeks, I have been doing
Right,
that
you have
build
been
up,
doing that.
right? And I've also had some recovery in between, but I did the 3.5, then the 4.5, and so then the 5 2 days ago, because we synced up our training plans this
Right.
week so that we come in exactly with the same load, same training, and so on, so that we could mimic everything here just right. And yeah, it's a different process for me.
Right.
And, also out of fairness, I've been doing this for years now, long runs, and you're sort of building into this realm. I mean, when's the last time you did a 34-mile run?
Oh, man. I mean, I don't even know. I was having some niggles and stuff ramping up to Ultraman 2011, and running was challenging for me. So I don't even know if I put in like a 40-mile run prior to that race. So I think it's been 2009 was the last time I put in like big-time runs. So
yeah, you might have a recovery week next week.
Yeah, I know.
Just to absorb the shock to the system that we just did.
We're 3 weeks out. A couple observations on today. The first thing is, I thought the whole pull buoy strapped to the quad thing was going to be a pain in the butt and get in the way and just be annoying, but actually it was no big deal. Totally comfortable with that. And the idea of swimming with shoes and then running in wet shoes with socks, I was concerned about that, but we both found shoes that seemed to work well with our feet, and that didn't bother me at all. I was surprised about that. The thing I think I was most surprised, beyond what I already said, just being as difficult as it was today, was how hot I was getting. Like the rubber on this wetsuit, especially around the quads, is super thick, and it was a hot day out, and it's unbelievable how overheated you get running. I mean, it's like, who runs in a wetsuit? Nobody does that. It's like, that's what wrestlers do to lose weight, to make weight. You know what I mean? It's
I
like
was
insane.
thinking that a few times today as we were running around the lake. Some of those people must have been looking at us. Are those guys trying to lose weight or something?
Yeah, it's funny. There's a loop around Donner Lake, and this is high season. There's a lot of people here on vacation, etc. People are out on their paddle boards and boating and running and biking and all that kind of stuff. And here's two guys running down the street in wetsuits, holding bright orange hand paddles in their hands while they're running
with a pull buoy strapped to their leg.
Yeah, a pull buoy strap, and I'm wearing a swim cap. Brightly. It's like, I thought we'd get a lot more like strange looks than we did, and people are like, whatever. I guess maybe that's just the vibe out here in Truckee. But
they're used to seeing a lot of triathletes up here from the years of the Ironman up here, and so. A lot of people asked me today, probably about 6, are you guys training for a triathlon? And so I said, no, actually, we're doing something a little different. So
right. So what do we have left? What's your takeaway from today? What do we have to work on still? I thought we had pretty good communication. I was disappointed that I wasn't able to hold pace with you, at least on the swimming. And, maybe that's just, for the reasons we've already stated. But overall, I feel like our communication is good. Like, we're in sync. I just have to bridge that gap a little bit more, I think, over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm not really too worried about your fitness come the day, because we just need it that day. We didn't need it today. The good communication, and I think we also have a good unspoken language of knowing that when you need something or when you don't. And no, that worked well today. I would say the thing that we both noticed was the hand paddles too, how much harder it is
really
getting
hard.
back in
Yeah.
and then using those muscles after just having swum a lot. Of course, we stacked our day a little bit differently. Nobody's going to be doing a 3-mile swim to start Otillo.
Right.
We basically did half the distance right to start off of the full Otillo distance. So, but still, it is eye-opening how you have to be aware of that. And then I think the other thing we'll want to pay more attention to is our transitions. They were somewhat slow.
Yeah.
And these were easy
I took
transitions.
my cap off, and then how am I supposed to put my cap on, and I'm holding these hand paddles and trying to get my goggles on. It's like, that's a mess.
Well, we have to just figure, with that many transitions, a minute here and there will quickly turn into an hour, right? Because that time just adds up so often, so much. And then other than that, though, it went pretty smoothly. I know we're both praying for that cold water. Although I know come race day, we're not going to be praying for it.
Yeah, not that cold.
Yeah, exactly. And but there's just the learning of today and then applying it specifically for these next 3 weeks to really incorporate those last details that we'll need.
One of the questions that always comes up that people are asking me is how are you fueling these workouts? What are you eating? And I don't often respond to those because it's kind of a boring answer. Like, I don't overthink it too much. I mean, we woke up at 5:30. I had a bowl of cereal, and what did you had? I think you had the same.
Yeah, I had some.
I ate
cereal.
a banana.
Yeah,
I had
me
a cup
too.
of coffee, and then we went.
Yeah.
And then we had some little bars that we chewed on at a couple of the transitions, and we made sure that we were drinking water. We used your pickup truck as kind of a home base, where we had some nutrition products there, but it wasn't like we were carrying, like I wasn't carrying nutrition with me or anything like that. Like we kept it pretty minimal. I don't think we
we
stopped.
gapped it pretty well, and I think we also gapped it well enough in comparison to the race, because there it's going to be 45 to 60 minutes between those energy stations, and so I want us to be ready to just go that long and feel a little bit of hunger and know what to grab and be prepared as we're going into that. I mean, that's the things, those are the little details where we as a team working together, it's going to be real effective, because we'll be able to communicate, say what we want, know what kind of calories we're looking for going into each aid station, energy station, and then come out of it pretty efficiently. The minutes we're spending putting on caps at transitions, we might make up in those aid stations.
Yeah. I think Hunter McIntyre was the person who told me, he's like, you just got to keep moving.
Yeah.
Like, just keep moving, because I think you're right. The transitions, I think, are where people are stopping, or you're looking for your partner, or you get spaced out from that person, and there's a lot of pausing and looking around and fiddling around with your gear, and like you said, that stuff adds up. So minimizing that, I think, is going to be key. I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And that's the fun thing, too. As a team, I can help you through that logistics time, right? Like, Rich, are we thinking of this? Are we doing this? We're just constantly communicating. And that'll be important with those shorter distances, 300-meter swim, 500-meter run, like that we're talking, and that we know what's coming up ahead. Not that we know the distances or what island it is,
right,
but that we know what we're getting ourselves. All right, we got a short swim here. Let's really try to stretch it out, push a little bit, and then recover on that next longer island. Or we're in hour 3 right now. We still want to hold back here a little bit. Nutrition, fueling is going well. We're well hydrated. Our strategy is X, and therefore this is what we're going to do for the next 45 minutes, no matter what the terrain or the water brings, because we just want to manage our energy levels pretty efficiently through the day so that we can do things faster when we're able to, when the road opens up, when the terrain allows it for us. Like you and I, bushwhacking like it will be, that's not our strength. That's where we need to get through it efficiently and not using a lot of energy. But then when the road opens up and we have some pavement or flatter trails or steady effort, then we can start pushing a little bit deeper.
Right. So we've been breaking open, like the looking at the website and all the requirements and all the stuff we got to get. Like do we each have to carry a first aid pack?
I think as a team, the first aid pack, but we each have a whistle.
Yeah, we have to carry a whistle. We put that around our neck, right?
Yeah,
and what if you get into trouble? That's the idea.
For the safety of the swim vessels that will come and help you.
Right.
And it's nothing guaranteed, but it just helps. And remember the history of this race. You used to have to carry so much safety equipment. Keep in mind, when they started this race, you had to swim with a life vest, like the full ones that you used to have on a boat, right? And that you could barely swim because your arms are just sticking out the side. And it would take the swimmer's part of the race out of it, because nobody can swim fast in that. And so they've reduced the safety gear over the years to that whistle, that first aid kit, and then a compass.
Yeah, the compass. That's the best thing. We were joking the other day at dinner. Like, I don't even know, what would I even do with this? Like, how is this going to help me? Like,
hey Siri, what do I do with the compass?
Which way's north? Like, I don't know what direction I'm going.
Yeah.
If I have to break out the compass, I got bigger problems.
Yeah. Well, how about we'll just stay in one place and wait till another team comes?
I'll just blow the whistle really loud until somebody comes. That's my plan.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got 3 weeks left. What's this window going to look like?
We'll start pulling back here pretty quickly. I mean, we definitely need to recover from this week. This was a big week, and it's good to just have felt that fatigue and working our way through it the way we did. I mean, going through the difficulties of a steady 5-hour day, 5.5-hour day like today is important because it just puts you back into that mindset of just keep trucking, right? Like just keep moving forward. Don't overanalyze the pace. Don't overanalyze the heart rate. Just keep moving forward, right? You start doing a little bit of self-talk. And there's times today where on that, for a reason, I ran ahead of you because I wanted you to reacquaint yourself with that. And that's what we'll need, where you just sort of have that silent communication of saying, you know what, we'll just give him his space and his quiet time right now.
You were running ahead, and then all that means is that I start looking at my watch and I start looking at my heart rate and my pace and start like flogging myself.
Yeah.
But no, that's good. I mean, yeah, obviously we got to absorb this training, and then,
then we're 2 weeks out.
And
right?
then we got to do a little refining on the speed stuff, I would
Exactly.
imagine, and maybe work on some of the logistics around transitions and some of the technique stuff.
Well, we'll be doing some transition stuff, some trail stuff too. I'd like to get us a little bit more familiar with the bushwhacking aspect, which I've done some research, but I just want us to get even more unfamiliar with it. And I say unfamiliar because it's something that you can't really prepare for that terrain over in Sweden, but at least that we've done some running through that and see what that's going to be like. I mean, that's just going off trail basically for us.
So today we weren't wearing compression socks, and like I said earlier, our wetsuits just were capped above the knee. But with all the brambles and all the kind of stuff that we're going to encounter, it's been advised that we wear some form of compression sock, just so you're not getting yourself all scratched up. And I think they even have products that are like buoyant shin guards or whatever for extra buoyant. And like, there's all kinds of you can go down the rabbit hole on all this kind of thing.
And that's overall the big picture strategy, and it's been it from the very beginning, that our fitness allows us to overcome things that we really aren't familiar with this race, right? Of course, we could do it this year and then try to go back next year when we have some familiarity, and then you get more specific with it. But because we don't know the race, the best way to compensate for that, besides ask friends and get more input, is to be extra fit for it, right? And extra prepared, and for us also rested. Like, we don't want to waste fitness, leave fitness up on a Malibu Canyon run instead of in Sweden.
Right. Yeah, I think if we have a strength, it is that endurance base, putting in those huge days. And the weakness is, unfamiliarity with the terrain and what this race is all about, and just inexperience with this kind of event overall.
Yeah. But I mean, that's part of the fun, right? We're doing it as a team.
Yeah. And like we said from the beginning, we're doing this for fun, you guys. Like,
we're
this
not
is
winning it.
We're not winning this. I mean, like, we're competitive people. We're gonna try to, do the best that we can and like be in the hunt and all that kind of good stuff. But we're not delusional. And, had this performance had that been my, on my radar, like, I wouldn't have gone to Ireland. I wouldn't have done these. I would have had a different kind of focus going into this, but that's not my life right now. And, it's cool. Like I said on Instagram, and then you chastise me because it's like, this is a team thing, So my primary motivator is, I want to do well, but I don't want to let you down. Our destinies are inextricably tethered to each other.
Well, and that brings up a good point. It's the motivation that you've had over the last 6 months has been helped knowing that you're working with a teammate, right? And it's in a lot of cases with a lot of people listening, or just in general with health and fitness, it's hard by yourself. But if you have somebody that you're not necessarily accountable to, but that you're looking forward to doing this with, it might be a really good thing for everybody just to consider, what do I need to get myself motivated to train more consistently? Maybe an event with a partner or a challenge with a partner, because it does help. And as you've probably seen the last few months, whether in Ireland or as you've been traveling or just getting up on some of those hard mornings, where it's like, I got to do this. I love to do it for myself, but there's a little extra, with that. Hey, I'm racing with somebody, and I want to do well with them, for them as a team. Yeah,
for sure. I'm excited. I am a little bit scared after today,
as we should be.
I think it's ramping up my attention, like my sort of focus on what needs to be done between now and then.
Yeah, and back to what you said with regards to us not winning. I think in a lot of sports, it's somewhat, for lack of a better term, disrespectful for us to think that we can just train for 9 months and come in there and something we've never done. And these people have been training for years.
Right.
And on
there's a
this
whole
circuit.
circuit. There's a circuit. These guys are doing these races all the time. They know exactly how this stuff works.
And so for us to say, oh, we want to get top 3 or top 5 or whatever the number is, I think is not fair to the sport either. We want to make a good showing. We want to represent ourselves. We want to have fun. That's the key thing too. And, just have a great day in a great location at a great adventure. I mean, that's the ideal.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it has been fun. I mean, I think it's been a refreshing, reprieve from the grind of triathlon or just ultra running, because it is so adventure based. Like we're cracking up on the, we have Burckl over here, Caroline Burckl. I'm going to bring you on the mic in a second. But we were laughing so hard this morning on the dock, like you put your wetsuit on backwards first. And I'm like, how do I put this pull buoy thing on? It's like a comedy of errors. Like we're just trying to figure out, like, how do we do this? It's like, and we're 3 weeks out. It's like, yeah, we should have probably done this several months ago, or done one of these camps like every month leading up to this to be responsibly prepared.
Doesn't allow that.
I know.
Yeah. It is what it is.
And there's something cool about just kind of letting all that go and just being like, it is for fun.
And but keep in mind, all this, we've gotten through it healthy. We're not injured, right? I mean, that's the hardest part. If you get too tense with this and too focused on a lot of this stuff, especially ultra endurance stuff, this is an 8 to 9 hour, 10 hour, 11 hour event, you can quickly push yourselves to something that you're not familiar with, that you're getting injured.
Yeah.
And that's our goal. We want to come into this fit, somewhat ready, right? Have fun and be ready to give it our best on a challenging, hard course. I mean, this place is notorious for being really hard.
Yeah.
Even the locals say, I mean, that whole archipelago out there supposedly is just bizarre. I mean, it's just really tough, exposed, different. And we're just going to swim and run across it.
Right. So it's called Hauth, I think is the town. And when we arrive, the day before the race, we take a ferry to this island. It's an island, yeah.
The furthest one where we're starting, yeah.
And then all the competitors and everybody associated with the race camps out there, and we're in like tents or something like that. Like I still don't even know.
We're roughing it.
Yeah, we have
a certain feed time for dinner.
Right, and then it's a 4 a.m. wake-up call, and then we do it. But we're sequestered. It's not like we're starting in Stockholm or something like that. Like we're out there in the middle of nowhere for this thing.
Yeah, we're going to meet a bunch of great competitors and people, and it's, I mean, that's just all so unique, and it's a different adventure. Every piece of it. Like, can you imagine at an Ironman or an Ultra taking every competitor and sequestering them for 24 hours prior to the race? I mean, people be freaking out.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of injuries, Burckl, get on the mic here for a second. Here, slide that over to her for a minute. So we have Caroline Burckl here, who is a former Olympian in swimming.
Let's go.
Swam for the University of Florida. And she had the best intentions of competing at Burckl with Hillary, with I'm going to get excoriated for not saying it right.
We need to figure this out.
I'm trying really hard, you guys. I really am. Caroline was going to be competing with Hillary Biscay, former podcast guest, Ultraman world champion. But due to Caroline got an injury. You have a serious bone fracture in your heel.
Yeah.
So that opted you out.
It was the first time I heard the word calcaneus in my life. No, it's a joke, but yeah, calcaneal stress fracture. And
you showed me the X-ray. It's for real.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, and I didn't know about it until about 6 weeks after I did it. Apparently, so I kept pushing it and running on it, which you just touched on. Not being injured and being healthy and going through something. This has been the biggest learning lesson for me. Just going through something and knowing now how to train versus not logging stuff, not paying attention, just running miles in the mountains without paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that Chris is really good about is tempering that desire to ramp up too quickly and being very diligent and erring on the side of less is more in terms of ramping up the running in particular to avoid just these very scenarios.
Well, and it's important too. I mean, obviously none of us have done a race like this, but it's important when you're in a position of endurance training, that you're keeping your strength in these little places of your body that you don't even realize that you need strength in. So I've learned the importance of your feet throughout this process. So I'm like doing towel grabs and like golf ball grabs with my toes and things like that. And before I would have laughed and scoffed at that. And now it's so important. And so never underestimate the power.
Yeah. Well, it was a bummer because we had this whole plan. We were going to be all these crazy Americans going over to, meet this race head on. It was going to be you and Hillary, and then Hunter McIntyre was partnering up with your friend Rory, right? And then that's not happening either. So now it's just Chris and I.
Injured,
so now it's just Chris and I.
The American are dwindling
emissary
down.
has been,
But look,
diminished.
in all seriousness, like you guys, you've said it so many times in this podcast, and I've wanted to say something, but I was really trying to be quiet over here in the corner. However, you guys, you nailed it with just not knowing sometimes is best. You may not know the terrain. You may not know the race. And sometimes I feel like going into something with a little bit more of a naive attitude, it's like think like a childlike mind. Like when you go into it with an idea and you have a plan and you know you're fit, and like you said, you have your fitness, it's fun. Like sometimes you can overthink when you have so much that you're supposed to be knowing and memorizing and all this. And I think the whole fun of it will be like, where are we going? What's going on?
Yeah.
Let's talk during this 500-meter dash across the...
No, there's something beautiful about that. It provides that space for just like fun and joy. Like I remember the first time I did Ultraman, like my crew is my dad, and like this other buddy of mine who had it was like, it's over Thanksgiving weekend, so it was really hard to find people to help you out because everybody has plans. And I got this ragtag crew of buddies and my dad to come out and like we didn't know anything, but that made it super fun, So I sort of look at this and, through a similar lens.
And and you remember that the most. I mean, sure, other races are awesome and, you've got it all going on, but you remember the ones the most that are just like, well, here we go.
And it's cool that even though you have this injury, I mean, you've been walking around in a boot, you're not in the boot anymore, but that you were just game to come up to Tahoe for the weekend, even though you can't run, to like do the swim and just kind of hang out.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I mean, I took swimming for granted forever. When I retired from pool swimming and professional swimming, I hated it for so long, and now I absolutely will never again take it for granted, just because it is something that no impact for the rest of your life. If you can do it, it's incredible. And there's nothing like a swimming high when you just are done swimming. Even today, that 3 miles across, I mean, that transition was pretty quick afterwards, guys.
Yeah.
But, we're all talking and having fun. That was sarcasm, by the way. We're all talking and having fun. And I was just like, you all went off on your run, and I'm standing there at my car, and I was like, that was unbelievable.
That was
we just
super cool.
crushed, 3 miles at 6, 7 a.m., and it felt like 20 seconds of time that just...
Although looking over and seeing
backstroke
was not fun.
Yeah, I know. Let's be clear. Caroline was way out front. Yeah, like just for the record, she's way ahead of us. And then she'd roll onto her back and fix her goggles. And I'm like back there going, oh my God.
I was doing backstroke at one point, and I see you pop your head up and just like start shaking your head at me. I was like, time out. You all have shoes on and a buoy. And I did not. I was totally shoeless. So technically, I had an advantage. You guys were crushing it.
Ridiculously fit. Are you one of those people that just never retired and you just stayed fit after your swimming career?
I took a week off. And I think I did Pilates during that week. But after that, I was like, all right, I signed up for like 3 Ragnar relays in a span of 6 months. And I was like, let's do this. I was lifting every single day still. Well, every other day. But I mean, but then again, we can go on a whole nother topic with that. But maybe a little time off was needed. And this injury of 6 to 8 weeks. No, 6 to 8 weeks in the boot, but it's been about 12 since I have run at all, stepped foot even in that direction. But I think my adrenals are finally repaired, and sometimes you've got to listen to your body.
Yeah,
I want a sign.
I want to do like
sign.
a whole podcast with you because I want to get like your whole story because it's super interesting. That's not today, but I do want you to tell that story that you told last night about the adrenal fatigue thing.
There's a lot to it.
So with the waking up in the middle of the night with the
night
sweats and all that,
just drenched. I
so
don't
like
think
your
I
whole
went a night without
swimming career, waking up in the night with.
I have photos of my bed sheets just drenched, and I would send them we'd send them in to the doctors. And I'm not sitting here. No, I don't want anybody to pity me or anything. It was just one of those things that's alarming, and you don't know, but you got to keep going. You don't have a choice. you don't have a choice. You got to keep going. I mean, I guess I did have a choice. I could have said no, but I don't think Greg Troy would have been super stoked with me.
Clearly it's an indication of adrenal fatigue.
100%.
But you may not even feel tired. Like if that's happening even in your you feel good. Like I'm not overtrained, but it's so deep because it's years and years and years without, taking the requisite, rest weeks or those down periods that allow your base to reset so that you can, have longevity in your career.
And then learning how to fuel yourself properly to repair those adrenals is huge. And
so having the stress fracture, you said, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said the other night, just the other day was the first night that you didn't wake up with bed sweats in as long as you can remember.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I called my doctor and said, oh my gosh, and he's an herbal, he's an unbelievable naturopath. And I was just I can't believe it. I just woke up without sweating for 3-4 nights in a row. And it was weird. I noticed that I woke up without it, and it was exciting. But then of course, you have that athlete mind where you're well, that means I'm not training.
Right.
But then I had to you have to calm yourself back down and say, this is in 2 months, this is going to pay off. I think
it might be the best thing that ever happened to you.
Ever. 100%.
You're the kind of person who would have just dug your grave and just grinded until 100%. Your body just caved in completely.
Yeah. If I would have gone one more week on my heel, it would have broken all the way through, and I would have put 6 pins in it.
Yeah, the
Dr.
image
was not happy.
It is cracked in half your heel, and that's just from that's insane.
Yeah. So, and I thought I knew my body, and I'm honor that, and I always have told myself, oh, you are so in tune with your body, and now this is humbling for me to take a step back and be maybe I'm not. And maybe I need to be real with myself. And I think we all have a reminder in that, and your body changes every year, and I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah. And if you take that seriously, then you'll be able to go to a whole different level, I think, and you'll have much more longevity, and you'll be healthier, and you'll just be able to compete with, joy and without that kind of fatigue. We're from different eras, but Chris and I will both tell you, I sleptwalked through my, teens and 20s. I didn't even know what was going on. I was so exhausted all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I lost 15 pounds when I was done swimming. I didn't know how to do anything for my body. All I was doing was cardio, no strength training, wasn't eating properly, wasn't sleeping. And I don't think even a year ago I could have made that 3-mile swim without stopping 10 times and wanting to die. And today it was just it felt incredible, and there's just something that, and of course 3 miles 8 years ago would be a laughing stock when we're doing that for warm up. But now it's when you're in open water and you just feel incredible. So, and it's no easy feat. So yeah, I think that, and also it's taught me a lot. When we're working with our teen athletes and working with them on injuries or overcoming things like that, I have a whole new respect and a whole new understanding. So it helps me do what I do better and able to impact that generation to slow down, be patient, listen to your body, and learn how to listen to your body. Because, there's so many distractions now.
Because
here. So give it back to Chris.
Back, Mike.
Slide it back here.
No.
Because I want to. It's a natural segue anyway. Because
it's hard to learn the signals. We learn the signals in swimming over so many years what to look for. For example, with your heel, that's not really something that you would have noticed because that's not an injury you would never get swimming. So it takes a while to learn the different aspects of listening to your body, and it's very complicated, and it's not a perfect science either. Many people will give you different inputs of what different things mean. Night sweats, you can ask 10 doctors, they'll give you 5 different answers.
Yeah.
So, and from anything from nutrition to overtraining to chronic fatigue, even going that far into the hole.
Mm-hmm. So, in the course of your coaching, triathletes tend to be well-heeled, Type A, highly driven personalities, and talking them down off that cliff has got to be a challenge when they want to just run and gun.
Yeah, on the one hand, I don't work with a lot of athletes that aren't willing to understand that, and that means I turn down, or after some time, some athletes just aren't willing to do that and we don't work together anymore. But I always quote to them that if you're thinking about getting fit, that'll be the easy part. Like, I can get you fit. Just be patient. We'll get you really fit, fitter than you've ever been before. But if we try to jump the gun on this, your fitness it's never going to materialize, right? We're going to be in 4 weeks from now, you're either going to be off the program, not logging your workouts because you feel guilty that you're not logging your workouts, right? And you're injured, or you're too tired, or you can't make it fit. And we talked about this last time. Right. It's like making it all balance as a master's athlete with work and family and life. You just have to be patient because the fitness is building. And again, to what Carolyn just said, is that's so many years of swimming and so on, that won't go away. Like, you think 4 or 5 months, right? Well, oh my God,
it's
like
gone forever,
right? 2 weeks. When we took off 2 weeks once a year swimming in Germany, it was like,
over.
Oh my God, like I'm going to need a 6-month rebuild. Like, you're like, what? No. But it's so deep in your system. And sort of what I was alluding to before, you took 5 years of lighter training and it took you only 6 months to get back to pretty good fitness that you can walk in or walk out the door and run 34 miles with no real proper buildup. Now, we do have to be careful now the next few days that we don't, this is where the niggles show up in 10 days. Yeah. What you did on Tuesday, if we're not smart, something will creep up and then you'll be really bummed, right?
Right.
10 days prior. So we really got to be careful with this window.
Yeah. I mean, because this is not the normal protocol. We would have built up much more responsibly. So they say you can't cram for an event. So there's a little bit of a cram here that ordinarily would not be the program. But in my experience of working with you, one thing that you always do is you wait way longer than even I, knowing you and knowing how you work. Like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to, come on. When is the hard work? Like, I'm ready for the harder workouts. You're like, no, not yet. You gotta train to train, and then you gotta train to train, and then you gotta train, and then you train. Yeah. But if you jump that gun, like, you just see it all the time. People are getting injured because the lungs and the cardio, like, that comes along quick, and then you're like, I'm good, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but your whole body is a fine-tuned machine that everything has to work in sync to do the volume that we're talking about. We're not talking about a 2-hour workout here. We're talking about 6, 7, 8 hours, at a time at some pretty high intensities if we're getting ready for a triathlon or, this type of stuff. I mean, it's a lot on the body, and people underestimate just because they feel good today and tomorrow that they're ready during the weekend or whenever in 3-4 days to do it again. And no, it takes longer. It takes longer.
Patience, patience in the context of years, right?
That's why it's endurance sports. It's a natural filter. If you don't have the patience, the best athletes will not be able to materialize. If you're patient, and you will get fit, and it will blossom more than you ever thought it would be. I mean, some of the signs that I always talk about with regards to fitness is when you finish a half Ironman or an Ironman and you recover in 10 to 12 days and you're excited to train again and you're ready to go, that's a sign of fitness, right? Not that I'm going to let them train right away, but they're that quickly recovered. They're not sore for weeks, or they're not low energy for weeks. They're not walking around and needing sleep and so on for weeks. They're just popping right back. And that's real deep fitness.
That's the awareness.
Yeah, the awareness. That's right. So right before this little jaunt up here, you were in Boulder and you were at the Endurance Coaches Conference.
Yeah.
So I'm interested we talked a little bit about the other day, but I'm interested kind of in what's going on in that community. Like, what are the coaches talking about? What's new? What's tried and true? Like, what is your relationship to that, situation?
He's putting me right on the spot.
I don't want to talk about anything you're not comfortable talking about. But
no, it's funny.
I think a lot of people listening to this are, I need a coach. How do I find a coach? Who are the coaches? They're poking around the internet. What's available?
Well, that's a different question with regards to finding a coach, because I get a lot of those questions too. But from a Boulder standpoint, I did not really take part because I really like to stay an outsider. And I talked to 2 or 3 coaches up there that I know and I'm good friends with. And they're very similar. They like to stay on the outside. I like to learn from different sports, my own activities, a lot of reading, a lot of input. I don't like to, for lack of a better description, conform to these rules of how to teach triathlon, right? I think after 20 years of coaching this and sort of keeping those athletes healthy, motivated, athletes coming back years later saying, man, I never felt as fit and healthy and non-injured as I did back those years. Now they can't train like that anymore with kids and life and so on, but that's the compliment to me, that they love that time, that they use that window in their time of life to get fit and healthy and carry that for years and years forward, right? And maintain some sort of healthy and fit lifestyle. But yeah, no, I didn't really partake in the festivities in Boulder.
Okay. So in the reading, like you said, you try to get your information from you're trying to stay up on what's going on. Like, has there been anything that you've come across in the last, year or two that's altered your perspective, or that you've incorporated into your training that's different from maybe what you were doing 4 or 5 years ago? Like, has it evolved question. Or do you just...
It's definitely evolved, especially from a nutrition standpoint. It's evolved from a recovery standpoint, and even more the need of recovery and sleep, and how we're doing our macro cycles versus the intensities that we're training, and also the importance of really separating athletes, that they do not fit any type of plan, which is back to the whole coaching according to conformed plans, right?
Here's your plan. This is
exactly
what you do.
I found that no two athletes are the same, and one person with a little bit of intensity and a lot of endurance does great, and that same person that looks the same, has trained the same, has the same background, blows up with that. And it's just a lot of listening. It's a lot of communicating. And then, a lot of my athletes will laugh when they hear this, but it's also a lot of saying, you know what? Don't overthink it. You've got to get in these next 6 months, because we've got to build that platform properly, and then we can start messing around with different types of training, because then you're ready.
Cool. All right. Well, let's close this thing down. What do we got going tomorrow?
We have a 2-hour trail run. We're going to head up to the Pacific Crest, which is absolutely gorgeous.
What's the elevation up there?
We're going to go start about 8,000 feet.
Oh, my God.
And we're going to go
6 isn't enough.
Yeah. But it's just so pretty. You have to see it.
I know. I'm so shellacked right now. The idea of doing a 14-mile run at like 8,000 feet
Well,
tomorrow,
it won't be 14 miles on trails, as well as with that elevation as well. It's too hard to do that. It'll probably be 11 to 12. When you get in 6 miles an hour when you're.
But we're doing these in our shorts, right? We're not doing this in a wetsuit. Okay.
But we will start.
That would definitely get some looks up there.
And a swim cap.
Yeah.
People think we're going to fly off that ridge. Yeah. And then we'll start with a swim in the morning. Nice, long, stretch-out swim. Full-on, just recovery. We'll swim backstroke, and we'll make her do like butterfly or something.
Right. We're going to have to. Yeah. And then when we get back, like, we've been training in the biggest paddles available, and we're going to step it down to some smaller ones.
Exactly.
Which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I felt that today.
Oh, man.
Every single time.
I didn't think I would. I mean, swimming in a pool, I just crank with paddles. Like, I didn't expect to feel that, like, lactic acid build up in the shoulders and the lats like that. Cool, man. Well, I'm psyched to be here. 48-hour training camp. This is great, man. We should do more of these.
Yeah, these quick in, quick out. Let's just choose destinations around the country.
I got a 5:00 flight. What are we doing tomorrow? We'll get back down to Sacramento. We're all going home.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're planning Catalina, too.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of plans happening. Yeah. We'll see what happens,
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's just get through this race, first, and then we'll talk about what comes after. Caroline. Okay. And Caroline, will you come back and do the podcast with me properly, and we'll tell your whole story?
100%.
Awesome. Down. Cool. All right. Thanks, you guys. Let's try to do one more, maybe like when we're in Stockholm right before the race, and certainly after, time permitting or whatever. I think that'd be cool.
A post-race download.
Yeah. So we definitely have to do that.
Yeah,
there's going to be stories to tell for sure, whatever happens. So anyway, all right. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it. Peace. All right, we did it. Short but sweet. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm interested in your feedback on these Coaches Corners. I'm really enjoying doing them. You guys seem to be enjoying them. I think it's cool to kind of expand out of my typical format, branch out a little bit. So send me a little feedback, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm just at Rich Roll in most places, pretty easy to find. For more on Chris, go to aimpcoaching.com or at AIMPcoach on Twitter. Chris has also been on the show, on the podcast many, many times in the past, all the way back to episode 21, also episode 256. We've done a couple Coaches Corners. There was a Skype interview in episode 285 with Louis Cole, and then again on episode 297. It's all searchable on my site. For more on Burckl, go to riseeliteathletes.com. That's her website, her coaching, mentoring website. And you can also find her on Instagram at Caro Burckl, CaroBurckle. Don't forget that C. She's got a great Instagram account, totally inspiring. I would definitely follow her there. Check it out. Look, you guys know that my mission in life is to help you experience your version of what I have experienced eating and living the way that I do. So everything I do, books, podcasts, public speaking, my athletic endeavors, this Otilla race, it's all designed to advance this purpose. And intellectually, I think you get it. If you're listening to this show or you've responded to my writings, my books, etc. And yet every day I get emails from people still struggling with how to implement a more plant-focused, plant-centric lifestyle. What exactly do I eat? What if I don't like this or that? How do I get started? What if I'm allergic to nuts? The questions go on and on and on. It doesn't matter how many books I write or how many podcasts I do, they still keep coming. So clearly there's a gap in the marketplace where the information is not connecting in a way that's making it facile for people to make these changes as easily as I think that they can. And it's for all of these reasons that we created our Plant Power Meal Planner, which I'm really proud about. It's this incredibly powerful, robust, online, mobile-friendly resource tool that takes all the mystery and guesswork out of this whole affair at an incredibly affordable price, just $1.90 a week, which is basically like loose change that you would forget about if it got lost in the couch. And in exchange for that, check out what you get. You get thousands of plant-based recipes, but they're not just static recipes. In addition to those, you get unlimited meal plans and grocery lists that help you plan everything. And everything is totally personalized and customized based on your goals, food preferences, allergies, time constraints, budget, etc. Essentially, when you sign up and become a member, you have all of these inputs, and that gets funneled into this AI that helps anticipate what you're going to like, what you're not going to like, etc. We also have amazing customer support from a team of experts. We have grocery delivery in 22 metropolitan areas via Instacart. So if you live in a big city, especially in the US, chances are you're going to be able to get your groceries delivered. So you're going to have the recipe. It's going to be the kind of recipe you're going to like. You're going to have the way to make it, and you're going to have all the food that you need there to prepare it. Essentially, all the guesswork is gone. This is really transformative, life-changing stuff. Based on all the feedback that we're getting from everybody who has been using it, people are just digging it. And it's really making a big difference in people's lifestyle. So I can't recommend it enough. I'm so proud to be able to offer it to you guys at such an affordable price that warms my heart. So to learn more and to sign up, go to meals.richroll.com or click on Meal Planner on the top menu at richroll.com. Thanks a lot. If you'd like to support this show and my work, share it with your friends and on social media. Leave a review on iTunes, hit that subscribe button, basic stuff, you guys. We also have a Patreon set up for people who would like to support my work financially. And many of you have done that. That's amazing. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Every week, I send out a free weekly, I'm laughing again. If you listen to my Aubrey Marcus podcast, then you know why I'm laughing. It's been 3 weeks since I've sent out my roll call email. I'm doing it today, though. It's going to go out tomorrow. I promise you guys. In any event, in general, I send out, at least in principle, a free short weekly email every Thursday called Roll Call. 5 or 6 things I stumbled across over the course of the week. A couple articles that I've read, maybe a documentary I watched, a new product that I'm enjoying, just good stuff, no affiliate links, not trying to make any money, not trying to spam you. That's it. And it has been a couple weeks since I sent one out. I guess you can call it a little bit of a summer vacation, but I'm back at it this week. So if that interests you, you can just sign up for it. It's free again. Just enter your email address on my website in all of those little windows where you can where you can throw it up there. Also, I want to remind you guys, I don't want to lose momentum on this. In the wake of my podcast with Scott Harrison, the founder of Charity Water, I've been talking a lot about this monthly subscription service that they have called The Spring. I put the call out to you guys. You guys responded. And in short shrift, we've already raised enough money to build 4 wells. And my company is contributing 1 well annually. So that makes almost 5 wells this year that this little podcast has manifested, which is amazing. But I think we can make it 10. I think it's pretty doable. Most of you guys have an extra $20, $30 laying around that you can donate each month for just, what is really an extraordinary, life-changing payoff. So I want you guys to all really think about the impact that you can have, especially when we feel disenfranchised, like we can't make a difference, that we have no voice. This is a very potent, very real, very tangible thing that you can do for not a lot of money that can really have a profound impact for generations to come on not just an individual, but a village of people. Imagine that. And imagine how amazing it'll make you feel when you know that you've made that impact. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Make a donation to Charity Water via The Spring, which is their monthly subscription service. To learn more about it and to join, I want you to go to this very specific URL. It's cwtr.org/richrollspring. cwtr.org/richrollspring. That way, if you use that URL, they can track all the traffic that's coming in to them from this show. And we can, figure out what's working and what's not. I'll also put this link up in the show notes on my website. And thank you very much. And while I'm thanking people, let's thank today's sponsors, Thrive Market, your online market for super healthy food at 25 to 50% off, retail shipped right to your home. Go to thrivemarket.com/richroll and get an extra 25% off on your first box of organic and non-GMO products, plus free shipping. Never pay full price for healthy food again. And Quip, your one-stop solution for oral health. Buy a Quip toothbrush from $25 and get up to $5 off your first refill pack by visiting getquip.com/roll and using the promo code ROLL during checkout. I want to thank everybody who helped put on the show today. Jason Camiello for audio engineering and production and show notes and all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff. Sean Patterson for help on graphics. He also puts together the roll call email and the weekly podcast update email, everything having to do with graphics and fonts and stuff like that. That's Sean. And theme music, as always, by Analemma. Thanks for the love, you guys. See you back here in a couple days. Till then, have a great week. Peace, plants. And as Julie would say, namaste.